Irreverent, entertaining, cool. You're listening to LA Talk Radio.
You're listening to The Inner Voice with Dr. Foojan Zeine, only on LA Talk Radio.
Hello everyone, I'm Dr. Foojan Zeine and welcome to The Inner Voice Show. The show is about you, about making a difference in your life so that you can create a free mind and a heart filled with love toward creating a fulfilling life for yourself and everyone around you. I'll bring you the latest research in the realm of human sciences, and we'll talk to experts in their field to bring you the jewel of their knowledge and wisdom. Let me tell you a little bit about my book, Life Reset, The Awareness Integration Path to Creating a Life You Want. It's the latest psychology model, awareness integration, that has been presented to you in a series of exercises which you can complete in your own time. The awareness integration model has been researched in multiple universities and have been published in multiple international journals, and we actually presented it at Harvard a couple months ago. So the latest research, and which was published, was it done in Cal State Long Beach with 120 students, and we found that it reduced depression 68% and anxiety. And this was in a self-format study, the same week that the book is. And by the way, I am going to have a workshop on the book on May 5th and 6th. So for all of you who are interested, just email me or go to my website, foojan.com, F as in Frank, OOJAN.com. You can also get a copy of the Life Reset book from my website, and you get a discount when you get it from the website. If you'd like to consult with me, I have my offices in Beverly Hills, Irvine, and Woodland Hills. And I do a lot of consultation online. So again, go to foojan.com and call me. I love to hear from you. I'm excited today. I have someone really dear in the studio. We'll be right back. Well, there was an article published in the American Psychological Association website. How do people deal with difficult events that change their lives? The death of a loved one, a loss of a job, serious illness, terrorist attack, and other traumatic events. These are all different examples of very challenging life experiences. Many people react to such circumstances with a flood of strong emotions and a sense of uncertainty. Yet, people generally adapt well over time to life-changing situations and stressful conditions. What enables them to do so? It involves resilience, an ongoing process that requires time and effort and engages people in taking a number of steps. Research has shown that resilience is ordinary, not extraordinary. People commonly demonstrate resilience. One example is the response of many Americans to the September 11th terrorist attack and the individuals' efforts to rebuild their lives. Being resilient does not mean that a person doesn't experience difficulty or distress. Emotional pain and sadness are common in people who have suffered major adversity or trauma in their lives. In fact, the road to resilience is likely to involve considerable emotional distress. Resilience is not a trait that people either have or don't have. It involves behaviors, thoughts, and actions that can be learned and developed in anyone. A combination of factors contributes to resilience. Many studies show that the primary factor in resilience is having caring and supportive relationships within and outside the family, relationships that create love and trust, provide role models and offer encouragement and reassurance, help bolster a person's resilience. Other factors are associated with resilience are also the capacity to make realistic plans and take steps to carry them out. and a positive view of yourself and a confidence in your strengths and ability. So today I'm going to have Sahar with us. Dr. Sahar Ghamati is going to be with us in a few minutes, and you'll find out why I'm talking about resilience. I'm so glad to have Dr. Sahar Ghamati with me. She's a spiritual architect. What is that? We'll ask her. With a PhD in metaphysics, a certified hypnotherapist, and an I Rest Yoga Nidra teacher. We'll ask about that too. And the author of the book, Dying into Life. Yes, Dying into Life. Her passion is helping people reach their inner peace and wisdom through the lessons she's learned in her own life. Some of the most important tools that she's used in her own life have been gratitude, affirmations, meditation, and practice of love. No wonder I like her. Some major life challenges, such as being diagnosed with MS at the age of 20, along with her education and general interest in spirituality, led her to her belief and ideas, and all of them are in her book, Dying into Life. Welcome.
Thank you. Hi.
Nice to have you with us.
Thank you. It's a pleasure.
So, tell me about you and what does an architect, spiritual architect, mean?
Okay, so for me, when I say I'm a spiritual architect, I mean I help people take a break from their human condition and human limitations, get in touch with their spirituality, their inner peace, and sketch and plan their heartfelt desires so we can build a foundation and they can continue building the life that they want on their own.
So you got diagnosed. You were moseying along with life, going along, doing what
20.
you need to do at age 20,
Yeah.
and suddenly you're diagnosed with MS. How was that for you?
Well, first of all, I didn't know what it was. So the first night I was like, okay, I'm going to die. I don't know what this is. I thought it was a terminal disease. But it's so interesting because...
Well, supposedly is.
Well, it depends.
A chronic one.
Yes. But it's not a terminal disease. So the interesting thing was for me, even though it was a drastic experience, all our lives changed. My life changed, my family, everyone had to adapt to this new condition. They had to start behaving differently towards me. No stress, no agitation, just take everything easy. So we had to adapt. But the thing from the very beginning for me was accepting it and not letting it be in charge of my life. And I decided that I want to actually choose it. When I say that, some people say, what do you mean choose it? You have MS. There's nothing you can do. But for me, it's actually a choice because I give it meaning.
Right.
I give it the power to lead my life if I wanted to. So when I say I choose MS, it means I choose what I want it to be in my life.
Right.
And
she's
how
here.
Yeah.
She's here.
Yeah.
She's here to stay.
Yeah.
So might
So
as well
what?
be friended versus have it to be an enemy where you're going to constantly fight.
Exactly.
Because when you fight with it, it wins.
Yeah. I remember a friend of mine who had MS. Her mom was telling me we need to have injections 3 times a week for me. And her mom said that she cries every time she gets the injections, which is 3 times a week, and she was on her 3rd year. So I sat there and talked to her. This is actually something that my older sister, Shabnam, taught me. And she said, these shots, these injections are your friends. They're here to help you. You have to love them and put them in your body with love. And it affected her. She started doing that, and also affected me when my sister taught me that. And even though they hurt, but I never said, oh, I have to take a shot. Or I never forgot them because they're my friend. They're cool. They're here to help me, you know. So it all depends on how you want to look at things.
And then you went into the world of spirituality and Iris yoga. What is that? What kind of a yoga is Iris yoga?
So it's called Iris Yoga Nidra. Iris is short for integrative restoration. It's basically...
So it's IRES.
Yes. It's basically transformative deep relaxation, which we enter a meditative inquiry of self, inquiry of what's happening within ourselves, which that can lead us to physical, psychological, and spiritual well-being and healing. And it will allow us, it will give us the tools to find inner peace and also carry it in our daily life, in our modern life. And it's been really effective for PTSD, anxiety, depression. They use it on a lot of veterans that come back and they have to deal with whatever happened. So I enjoyed it a lot. I experienced it, and then I decided that I want to train in it and become a teacher and teach it to other people. Basically, it's teaching it. I would teach other people to have those tools to live their own life. It's not I'm going to do something for you.
Right.
You know, come here, I'll teach you, and you can do it in your own life, which will make it practical.
So the way that it works is that you allow them to get into a very, very deep meditative state. And you could do that also with hypnosis, or you could just allow people who've done a lot of meditation to go into the deep meditative state. And then from there, you listen to your body?
It's interesting that you mentioned hypnosis, because in my practice, I like to actually combine them. Because I think whatever I have, I can share, you know. With Iris, what we do is we inquire the sensations and the feelings that are in our body at the moment, physical, emotional, spiritual, because everything that we're feeling, they're all messengers. They're all there to get our attention on something, you know. I have an example that might be useful. I used to have a very bad shoulder pain for weeks, and I kept thinking maybe I worked out weird, or it's my mattress, it's my pillow, but nothing was helping it until one day I decided, okay, let me sit with this pain, let me see it, what it is. And interestingly enough, when I was just sitting with it in a meditative state, something came up in me that was saying, you haven't forgotten you haven't forgiven a person, which this person had done something to me, had hurt me maybe a year or 2 years before that, and I thought I had forgiven them and I moved on, but apparently I hadn't. And I acknowledged that, and I of course thought, okay, I'm going to work on this. And the next day my pain was gone. It was just there to be an alarm for me to come back, come in yourself, and see what's happening inside you.
What do you think MS was as a message for you?
Well, I think it was a challenge. You know, it's an amazing challenge. It's an easy challenge, to be honest, because we're here to learn on this planet with this physical body. We're here to learn. We're here to grow. And with those come a lot of challenges.
Yes.
And I actually love my challenge. I don't think it's a hard one. So yeah, it's been a challenge with all the pain and numbness and, you know, fatigue and everything. And of course, it gets really hard.
Yes.
By saying I love it, I don't mean it's not hard. It gets really hard. But I see it as, okay, it's really hard, but it's a challenge and it's an opportunity. You know, when I wake up in the morning, I have the opportunity to be miserable because I have a constant pain, and it's been there for 13 years now. But I've accepted it, and I live my life as though it's not there. If I do something that aggravates it and it gets a little more, then of course it'll affect me. And it's hard. It's hard, but... So
the message that I'm hearing from you is that puts you up for a challenge to explore not only who you are, but also you've created a methodology that honors your body. And it seems like MS has brought that challenge for you to start looking at who you are, not only as your thought process and your actions, but also the messages that come through your body. Because it seems like that's what you do also with people. You sit down, you go into deep essence of their body and see where it is that they need to let go, forgive, love, and be connected to who they are, and clean whatever it is that it's some sort of a negativity inside of them in order to shine. And
the main thing here would be acknowledging and seeing them, because it's really hard for people to actually see the underlying issues. So acknowledging them is a huge step, and then it comes acceptance and okay, what do I want to do now? You know?
Let's talk about acceptance.
Okay.
Tell me what you mean when you talk about acceptance, especially since you've had to very early on, at a time that you actually needed to take off with life. You needed all of your energy to create life, and then you had to accept your body and MS. So tell me about your journey through acceptance.
Okay, so this is actually a little interesting, because at the very beginning, I was 20. I wasn't in metaphysical world. I had a little background because I was interested in spirituality, but at the very beginning, I felt like, okay, something was about to happen, and I'm so glad that it happened to me and not one of my family members, one of my loved ones. And I accepted it as...
It's interesting. You could take it, but you wouldn't be able to take it if it happened to someone else.
Yeah, I really didn't want it on them at all. But then,
I can handle it.
Yeah, give it to me. Let them be happy and healthy. And yeah, I'm tough. Of course, they're all tough too, but I just didn't want it for them. But after I moved on in spirituality and my metaphysical education, my experience changed. I didn't see it as something that was supposed to happen and I got it. I'm not a martyr here, you know.
Thank you.
This was my own unique challenge. And as far as acceptance...
That's beautiful before you go forward. It's beautiful that you didn't take it as... I must have done something wrong, or I was bad, or I was destined, or any of it. You took it as, different people have different challenges, and this one's mine to take care of and be with.
Exactly what you said. Different people have different challenges, and I used to think, and I still do that, but at least mine has a name. People are dealing with a lot of things that they don't know what it is. Mine has a name. I know how to deal with it. I have options. And as far as accepting to live a happy life in the face of it, I'm remembering an example. I went somewhere to register something after I got MS. There was a young lady about my age, 20-ish. She was sitting in a wheelchair, and her friend was standing next to her. As I was signing my name, the receptionist said, "Is it for yourself?" And I was happy and perky, and just like I am right now. People won't think that I have MS. Everyone gets shocked. So I said yes, and the girl on the wheelchair told her friend, "Don't worry, in a few years she's going to be just like us."
Wow.
And I was, why? Why would you even want it for yourself?
Yeah.
Why would you want that mentality and that negativity be in you and live with that?
Well, part of it is the resignation. What I hear about the distinction between the acceptance and the resignation is when you resign into the fact of there's nothing I can do, I'm helpless about this. And then therefore you go accepting the negativity part and the destruction or moving along with it, of it taking over you. And I'm hearing your acceptance was the other way around. You're accepting and then yet moving along, shifting it into being with it from a positive place versus having MS take you down.
You have the option to be in charge of your life. I thought I'm responsible for my life. I'm in charge, not MS. You can go either way. MS is in charge, and your experience will be really different, or I'm in charge and I'm going to have a happy and healthy life. And I see MS as a companion. You know, it's just there, and it's just there to actually help me grow and evolve, and it's great.
And there came the book, Dying into Life. I love that name.
Oh, thank you.
Tell me about it. How did you choose that name?
Okay, so I'm going to tell you what took me to write the book. I was always really, really afraid of death. Really, I never wanted to hear about it or talk about it, but I was always afraid of not knowing it as well. I always felt, okay, you're afraid, you don't want to think about it, but what if you run out of time and you haven't dealt with it? I always had this conflict in me, and when I wanted to do my dissertation for my PhD, I decided, okay, this is a great topic because it's going to be two things in one, you know. I'm going to help myself, and what better thing to write about? So after studying about it and reading books and people's experiences with near-death experience, I decided, okay, I need to experience this myself. Well, I can't die, but I decided to meditate on death. It was so hard. It was so painful and emotional. So I would meditate that I'm dead and my family's there, and I would just go into all the details. They're burying me, everything. And it was really, really sad. So I did this every night. The first few nights, it was just, okay, I'm going to just sit here and cry. They're sad. I'm sad that they're sad. But then eventually I said, okay, this happened. I'm dead. They buried me. They're moving on. I mean, they're going home. Let me move on. Let me see what's next. So I went to a place of, I have this place that I call my heaven. You know, it's a place filled with beings of light and peace. So in my head, I was going to heaven. So I went there, and I meditated on the fact that I was talking to a higher being. It could have been my own higher being or an angel. So I started talking with him. It was a him. And the conversation was about why am I so sad? And I was talking about the regrets I had, which one would be, okay, I wish I had told my family that I love them more, you know, which I'm a very loving person, and I'm always telling them, but I still had that feeling of, I wish I had given more, you know. Another night. So every night that I would meditate, I would learn something new. Another night was all the negative thoughts that I had about my body. Why does it look like this? I want it to look like that. All the time that I was wasting worrying about it. And in that state of after my death, it didn't matter. It really didn't matter. So I decided to journal these trips, these travels, and what I learned because I felt like, okay, let me live like this. You know, let's think that I'm dead, but now I'm coming back to life, and I'm using that experience. So coming into your life from the end, you know. I wrote the lessons that I was learning. I did my dissertation, but then I decided, okay, let me expand this and actually share it with other people. So that's where Dying into Life came from.
So who do you intend to be?
Who do I intend to be? Just love and acceptance. I just want to be at peace, you know, and I want to portray that into the world. I'm hoping to have enough love and light in me to shine it, hopefully wherever I go.
And how do you propose to keep being in peace when all around you might not be? In a world that there's a lot of wars, there's a lot of conflict, there's shootings and shooting children and abuse, and there's so many things going on around here where how could you be with the world and keep the peace?
Well, the first thing I think I need to say is that these are all thoughts that I have. I'm not completely at peace sitting here, you know. These are hopes that I have for myself. So in the face of all the negativity that is around us, I think the best way to deal with them or understand them is on a spiritual level, on a soul level, that we're all the same, you know. The shooter and I are the same. I believe that some people might not like this, but Hitler and I are the same because we all come from the same source of love and consciousness and divinity. It's just that we go through different experiences here. So by accepting that we're all the same, I think it'll get a little easier to understand. Well, we can't truly understand, but we can be a little more accepting of people's experiences, of what they're going through to cause any kind of negativity. And another thing is that I think we need to accept the diversity that we have, the diversity on the way we think, the diversity of our experiences, where we're coming from, where we're heading. And everyone is going to have a different experience. And unfortunately, some of them are going to be things that I or another person is going to think it's the worst thing happening. But maybe for that person doing it is their growth, you know, unfortunately.
And for people who are experiencing it is another level of growth that they actually have to go through.
Yeah.
And then another part of it is like you do whatever you can do in the space you are with peace, and create what you can create.
And it's an ongoing process.
Yes.
You know, every time that something happens, every single day, you need to make a decision. You know, do I want to be calm and at peace, or do I want to go all over the place?
What is the message that you want the readers of Dying into Life book receive?
Well, my main thing that I like to talk about is imagine that you or someone else that you're interacting with in your life isn't going to be there the next week or tomorrow. I really, really, really care about this thought. I can't allow negativity, well, not negativity, but misunderstandings or hurt feelings to remain between myself and the people around me. Because I'm definitely sure that the next day something might happen and we won't be there. So I try to love as much as I can, you know, and share my love from the bottom of my heart with them, and forgive. You know, that's the key. Forgive. None of the arguments really matter. You know, if you think, okay, next week my fiance is not going to be here, God forbid, does it matter what he did?
Based on what you're saying, I had a personal experience where you know, I lived with my mother for about 12 years, and I was very angry at her. She was very famous in Iran, and she lived a life of fame. So I felt that I was just somewhere not being cared for, let's say. And a lot of my anger and resentment of all the things that she should have done and she didn't. And my loneliness, and then coming to U.S. at age 12 alone.
Oh, wow.
So a lot of that resentment had just held. And last year I kept going back because she had Alzheimer's, and she was dying, and I kept going back. And I remember just seeing her in the end stages of her life. Like you say, the forgiveness showed up. It was like I didn't have any expectation anymore. And the expectation of 50 years just went away.
Oh, wow.
And it's interesting that it was beautiful for me to see her at the end in that way, to let go. And then now, all I remember is the beauty of certain times that we had together, or even if we didn't, some of the resemblance that I like, that I see that I have with her, I enjoy it as if, you know, when all of my expectations went away, the acceptance came on, and the forgiveness happened, and it's so beautiful for me to have that experience of her Maybe not the first 50 years, but maybe from here on.
That's amazing. That's an amazing lesson that you learned, and you also shared it with me. Thank you.
And I hope forgiveness comes sooner than 50 years.
Yeah, but it didn't.
Yeah.
But from now on, it can.
Yeah.
You know, you have that. Now you have that tool.
Right. The
so
ability
I can forgive after 50 years of being so upset and all that sorrow. I could forgive. So maybe this week I can forgive this other person too. It might be a little easier for me to forgive.
Yeah. You're going to read something from our book?
Sure. What would you like?
Well, you said page 20, then 21, so I had that open for you.
Of course, perfect.
It's your book. Go ahead.
Okay, so this part is actually something that a very dear friend of mine felt that it was speaking to her. So I'm going to read it. It's a couple pages. Is that okay?
If you read it fast.
Okay, or I'll just do the one page that she loves.
Okay.
I'll just do that. Okay, so
Shahnaz, this is for you.
Oh, yes, and we love you. When we go through pain and hardship, we are being challenged to strengthen our faith or love. I want to share one of my experiences in life that has been challenging in a lot of different ways. I have lived with multiple sclerosis for over 10 years now, and as a person dealing with an autoimmune disease with all the pain, numbness, burning, fatigue, vision or speech impairment, etc., I am experiencing daily challenges of faith, patience, tolerance, and love. Waking up every morning and facing another day as it unfolds with whatever it has in store for me challenges me to keep my faith in the beauty of life and to try to remember the light when I feel consumed by darkness. It challenges my patience to tolerate and overcome pain by knowing that there are many different kinds of suffering out there for humans to experience and that none of it is forever. It challenges my love for God to accept that harsh experiences are for the benefit of my soul's growth and to believe in His divine love for me as one of His creations. To love God and life in hardship when you feel so overwhelmed with pain and sadness takes faith. Faith in the one candle that can't be burned off by darkness. Faith in the beautiful shimmering blossoms of the spring after the cold, long winter. Faith in the justice and righteousness of the divine and supreme being that is God. When you have faith in such a great beneficence and know for a fact that all struggles are a mean to gain understanding and growth, you accept the challenges and act as patiently as you possibly can, knowing that in the grand tapestry of your life, none of these sufferings matter, and that you are only facing and dealing with what your soul has the capability to tolerate and learn from, and nothing more. All pain and misery will pass. None of the hardships experienced during life will actually be with us when we die, and a lot of them won't even last long while we are living. Since everything will pass and be over with time, there must be a higher reason for experiencing them in life. So the best approach would be to try to stay as positive as we can while we are going through the struggles and to learn the hidden lessons in each.
It's beautiful to
Thank
listen
you.
to the hidden messages in each one of them.
Yes.
No wonder she loved that. She really appreciated that because she's going also through. So for anyone who's listening, who's going through and heard about an illness that they have or an issue that came up for them and they're having an issue with it, to remember those words and to actually go and buy Dying into Life by Dr. Sahar Ghamati. There's also the value of relationships. The research that was said in the American Psychological Association talked about how much in times of trauma, turmoil, illnesses, the resources that we have, the most amazing resources are the relationships that we hold. Some of them are our family and some of them are our chosen family, our friends. And how it deepens sometimes the relationship that we have with them and who they become for us. And the element of the fear that we all have about isolation and being alone and dying alone and suffering alone, and how much having the ability of togetherness brings that fear in and makes it into an illusion. And the connection among all of us becomes so real and so deep. What was your experience?
Well, I believe that we all yearn to be heard, to be seen, to connect, and to belong. Especially the belonging part. We definitely need it a little more when something comes up, a challenge comes up, a hardship comes up. As you said, we need our family, we need our friends, we need people around us that could help us on this path, and also we are helping other people on their path. I believe that we all are helping each other in one way or another. Maybe for them, helping me, is what they need to do to grow, and maybe for me, allowing them to do that is something that I need to learn. Another thing in relationships is that you need to communicate. People aren't mind readers. If I don't communicate my pain, if I don't communicate what I truly need, they wouldn't know how to help me, you know? So I really believe in communicating. Also, not assuming things, asking. For instance, when a teacher teaches a lesson, and she assumes the students got it, and they don't ask anything. So she doesn't ask if they got it. She assumes they learned it, and they don't communicate. Everything is going to be a mess, you know? All of a sudden, they all come into the understanding that, okay, we didn't even learn this lesson. So for me, I've learned, and I try to really communicate and ask, because we never know what people intend. We don't know their intent. We don't know why they do certain things. First of all, what they do might be a misunderstanding, you know. Second of all, you don't know the intention behind it. So I think when something comes up that you're struggling with in your relationship, the best way would be communication. You know, tell them that you're upset over this, or this really hurt you right then, before it's bottling up and it's turning into a huge disaster. And also asking what they're going through in that situation. I've certainly been doing that with my relationship right now with my fiance, and whatever comes up, because disagreements come up, whatever comes up, we deal with it right then. And because I know for me, I used to not deal with things. I used to just keep it, and it would bottle up, and then all of a sudden it would explode. So this is something that we really tried to do.
Sahar, I see a lot of clients who are cancer patients, or they have some sort of an autoimmune disease, and but they obviously become anxious or depressed, and they come to see me. One of the prevalent conversation that I've heard a lot from people is this duality that they have between wanting people to care and yet not wanting any type of pity. So they say, I don't want anybody to know, and I hate it when they call me and ask me, how are you? And that I see that they see me as fragile, and they want to say these things to me. I don't want their pity. And then no matter how much you try to shift it into an empathy and caring, they find themselves in that duality where they want their friends and family to be there for them, but not from a space of, oh, you're fragile. And then yet at times they are. So it's really a conflict, an inner conflict. And then I think that gets superimposed and projected to people where if they really want to come and help, now they don't know how to do it because they don't want you to get upset. What do you have to say, and what would you suggest?
I think it's the way that they portray their disease. I think that sense of awe and pity that they might think they would get is coming from themselves. I think you can decide what you want people to do for you and what you want them to be for you. For me, for instance, I've always said that I have MS kind of proudly, you know. I never saw it as a pity. That's why I never experienced people pitying me, and I need a lot of help, you know, I need people to love on me, and, you know, I need a lot of help, but I take that as a plus. My younger sister, Saba, used to say at the very beginning, she said, perfect. Now Sahar has a card that she can put above everything else. MS, everyone be nice, everyone be kind. So we made it a joke. And I think it's the way you approach it yourself. You know, if you approach it with acceptance and not being a victim, when you're asking for help, you'll be fine asking it. And at least for me, that's been it.
Yes, and you're mentioning all the way to the other side, which is there are also people who, after the initial shock and after all of that they might use it actually as their trump card, which on any level, when they want something, they'll pull that card and say, you know, that I have this disease, and then, you know, you need to give me more attention. How does that work, though, in the system of a family and friends? Because in that, you know, if you use that also to the extreme, then it feels more manipulative versus it is the truth.
I think in the face of all of these scenarios that we're talking about, for me, as a person that is living with the chronic illness, with this condition, is where am I coming from? I need to be true to myself. Am I coming from a place of love? Am I coming from a place of manipulation, as you said? Am I coming from a place of fear? For me, if I practice love and try to portray that to other people, try to shine it as much as I can to other people, I believe that what they're doing to me is that love coming back, you know? And as you said, sometimes people might use it as a manipulation, but that's not true peace for them. That's not going to truly give them comfort. You know, it might give them physical comfort. I manipulated them and they came over, for instance. But truly, in the bottom of your heart, you're not going to feel that peace and satisfaction, because those come when you're honest, when you're pure with yourself and with the people in your life.
And to say what you need to say, and ask for what you need straightforward, and accept what people are capable or willing to give and not give at any time, and you know, be independent when you can, and it's okay to be dependent when you need to, and request it from people who love to give, and they don't see it as a burden, and they're giving it to you, and you don't feel like a burden, and that you feel independent at the times that you can, but also that if, like you said, if I don't give in to my illness, then I'll find my strength and all the things that I can do, and then gain support in the things that I can't. Right?
Yeah.
We're coming to the end of the show. Anything that I have not asked that you really want our listeners to know about you, about your book, and about your practice?
Well, the main thing that I would like to leave them with is for everyone to know that we all have the means to change our lives for the better at any point with our own inner peace and our own love. So that's one thing that I want everyone to believe. Please do gratitude and affirmations. They've helped me so much in my life, so much. And also, if anyone is interested in exploring what I've learned further or would like me to help them in any way, they can reach out to me. They can call me or text me at 818-308-4245. That was, again, 818-308-4245. Or they can visit my website, Sahar Ghamati, .com, or my email, the same, my first name, last name, @yahoo.com.
And Sahar, where can they get your book?
Well, they can find it on Amazon. The easiest way, Amazon.
Dying
It was
into Life.
Yes, it was published by Balboa Press, so they can find it there. But the easiest place is Amazon. The name of the book is Dying into Life by Sahar Ghamati. Me.
Wonderful.
Thank you.
So they can find your book, and they can also call you because you're what you do as a practice is the spiritual counseling and the Iris yoga
And hypnotherapy.
And then you, as you called it, an architect, a spiritual architect, where you find where the person is on their spiritual space, and then you create together an architecture of where they want to be and then what the structures should be, and then from there on, with meditation, with hypnosis, going deep into the messages of their body and bringing them and creating with love and peace in what they need to create in their life.
Exactly.
Well, thank you for coming and sharing all of this.
It was my
with me
pleasure.
and our listeners.
It was my pleasure.
For all of you who have been listening with your heart, thank you so much for being with us. I want to tell you about the workshop that I'm doing May 5th and 6th that has been inspired by the book Life Reset, the Awareness Integration Path to Creating the Love and the Life that you love and you want to create. The workshop would be Saturday, May 5th and Sunday, May 6th. All day it would be in the West Side Pavilion Conference Center in the Westwood area. The pre-registrations will be done. There is no registration at the door at all. So if you wanted to come and be with me and with us so that we could go through teaching you the tools of awareness integration model, which is really giving you 12 steps of awareness and mindfulness about how you think, feel, act, and the impact that you have on your own life and everybody else's life, which are around you, and life itself and the world. And then you will get a tool which integrates the past and the traumas of the past and childhood, and if anything that you are kind of incomplete with the past. And then you will get 4 steps, clear steps in how to intend and envision who you intend to be, think, feel, act, and what kind of results you intend to have, and then how to create those for yourself in the future. So we will go through all of it, the present moment, the past, and the future, and you'll be with other people who are going through this journey for 2 days. So I'd love to see anyone who's interested in that type of expand themselves in their awareness, go deeper into themselves, and then create an amazing future for themselves together. The workshop will be done in the Westwood area. It's really experiential and experimental. So it's not really a lot of didactic or lectures. It's a lot of exercises and together processing, because I really intend for people to have this tool. So like you said, have the tool to go and use it at home. And that's why, I've done the therapy model for about 25 years, but I intended to put it in an exercise for people who don't choose to come to therapy to also have it in their life. So that's how it turned out to be in the Life Reset. And then from the book back into the workshop. I'm doing a lot of groups right now, and it's working beautifully. I'm seeing a lot of different experiences where people are becoming clear and crisp. And, my vision is that when you get clarity in your mind, that your heart opens up with love regardless, because our essence is love. And the love and acceptance starts. And from there, we're creative human beings, so we create what we want and we move forward with it. So I love to hear from all of you. Foojan.com, Foojan.com, and my number, 818-648-2140. And until next week, create and be your wonderful self. create an amazing life for yourself and for everyone around you. Bye-bye.
You're listening to The Inner Voice with Dr. Foojan Zeine, only on LA Talk Radio.